Good afternoon and welcome to another England Reborn podcast. How are you all on this sunny Wednesday, the 25th of March? Are you working at home? Are you sitting in your garden, making the most of the weather? I hope you're maintaining that social distance that we've been asked to do. Are you managing to get your shopping in? Have you got toilet roll? Things are still bad at the shops, at least locally. Here in the Midlands, we've struggled to book home delivery. I think Asda will come to the rescue at the moment, but yeah, it's difficult. And from what I've heard, they're still queuing outside of shops. Now let's hope that people are queuing sensibly and keeping that 2 metres distance that they've been asked to keep. Beer drinkers. A lot of you will be drinkers. This is England, and people do drink. Of course, the pubs are shut, the bars are shut, so how are you managing? Have you got a good supply? Are you relying on the supermarkets? If you haven't yet, have you looked into home delivery? There are many, many breweries out there that are actually, if they're not already set up for home delivery, they are setting up for home delivery. So keep an eye. We'll probably be sharing a list on our England Reborn Facebook or England Reborn Twitter, which is at England_Reborn. If we know that some breweries out there are doing home delivery or delivery by post, we will let you know. Make sure you support these businesses. They are not supplying to pubs at the moment. Of course, we do have our concerns about how pubs will cope in the long term, but support the breweries. When all of this is over, we'll need those breweries. And of course, at the moment in England and the UK as a whole, we have more breweries than we've had for many, many years. They've been doing rather well. We don't want them to fail. And we want that supply of very, very good beer that a lot of them are putting out there. And I don't know about yourselves, but I certainly need a beer at the end of a day at the moment. I had a dream the other night. I was in a pub. It seems that long ago. So, difficult times for landlords, especially the independents. I'd imagine things aren't easy for the big pub co's as well. You know, it's a lot of pubs with generating no money. Overheads are still there, but very difficult for independents. Do you run a pub? What are you doing at the moment? How are you making ends meet? Give us a shout. Comment on the YouTube video. Message us on Facebook. Send us a tweet at England_Reborn. Okay, I've just caught some of Prime Minister's question time, which is quite interesting. Latest note here, by the way, and I'll mention this. This is a separate thing, but of course, Prince Charles has caught COVID-19. It's thought that he caught it at his last public engagement. So, obviously, send our well wishes to Prince Charles there. Hopefully, he'll have the best medical care available. You'd imagine he would, being a member of the royal family. Though, still, as this is a new virus and we don't have immunity, I wonder what can be done. Let's hope he can fight this off. Jeremy Corbyn has been urging for urgent action on UK benefits. He says he's not asking for the entire UK economy to close down, but wants more resources to be given to support the Department for Work and Pensions and to ensure that people get the help that they need. So, he feels that there should be a rise in the weekly statutory sick pay, which is... it's not a lot. It's not a lot. It says we need to increase sick pay and give protection and access to benefits for those on 0-hour contracts. So I know a few people who are self-employed and they are certainly worried at the moment. They're not going to be making the money. There's only so much you can do from home. People don't want home visits. So if you're the type of, maybe you're an electrician, people will make do unless it's dire and their whole electricity switch is off. They will make do. They don't want those home visits at the moment. And who can blame them? If you're maybe over 60 and vulnerable, you will not want people in your house at the moment. Who knows if they're walking in and just not displaying any symptoms of coronavirus yet, but in reality, they could inadvertently bring it into your domain. The moment your house has to be like a little mini fortress. You stop everybody at the door, make them stand 2 meters away. Interesting times. Now, there has been word from London that the tubes are still very, very busy of a morning, and some of the people on there have been described as construction workers. Are you a construction worker? Are you still being asked to go into work? Is your work urgent? Is it of an essential nature? Probably not, unless you're constructing one of these temporary hospitals, or I believe there's a quick build going up to produce hand sanitizer. Did they want to build it within the space of a week or 10 days or something along those lines? I think if you're in general construction, your employer needs to be saying, look, this has to stop. We can't go on at the moment. We can't risk spread. Dr. Richard Horton, the editor of the prestigious medical journal, UK medical journal, The Lancet, has told MPs that he believes that the government's scientific advisors were too slow to act on coronavirus. They didn't take into account early warnings that were coming out of China, and they were too slow to act. He says that February was a missed opportunity to buy protective equipment and to prepare the NHS. How do you feel on that? I feel he's right. The current measures put in place by the government will take 2 to 3 weeks to start showing effect. So I think you can expect to see instances of people catching COVID-19 increasing for at least the next 2 to 3 weeks, and possibly deaths increasing. We're still on that same curve as Italy and as Spain, and that is not good. I'm sure you understand. So we will see what happens in respect of that. Now, have you been able to exercise? Have you been maybe getting out and using that one period of exercise per day that Boris Johnson has encouraged people to have? Are you going out, or are you not risking it? I'm sure that there are many people who are otherwise fit and healthy who are possibly thinking, well, you know what, I'm not going to go out unless I need something desperately from the shops because I can't get an online delivery sorted. I'm not going out. There's too much risk. Maybe that's the best way, but as I've mentioned before, if you haven't got the luxury of your own garden, if you live in a flat or an apartment, you do need to exercise. I wonder if there's been a run on exercise bikes and home gym equipment, very possibly. But yes, it is vitally important that you do get your exercise. You want your body in tip-top condition to fight off coronavirus. And at the moment, if you're getting out, you'll be soaking in a little bit of vitamin D from the sun as well, which certainly helps. I've been glad to see that Joe Wicks has been keeping people fit. Joe Wicks he's an English fitness coach, and he's known as the body coach, and he's been running online fitness sessions that families, particularly children, have been watching of a morning, exercising and following what Joe's doing. That is absolutely wonderful. Really good news. As I've mentioned before, a friend of mine has set up a home workout program, and that's Craig Hunt Coaching. So that's www.craighuntcoaching.com. For only £10 per person, you can download that workout program, which includes meal planning and other things. So certainly worth it. And full support. You can speak directly to Craig through social media, or even if needs be, I believe you can speak to him. He runs his own little business there, Craig Hunt Coaching. So there are people doing this. This is absolutely wonderful. It is important that we maintain some semblance of normality. Just don't all go and congregate on a field like the sunbathers in London at Shepherd's Bush that needed dispersal by police yesterday. Come on, what are you doing? Are you one of the 250,000 plus people that are volunteering for the NHS volunteer responders? I believe you will be helping out, delivering medication, possibly meals and so on for people who are vulnerable and confined to their homes. Of course, there are these very high-risk people that have been asked to remain at home for 12 weeks. Have you answered the call? I think it's very, very commendable, especially if you're young, you're fit and healthy. Now, we know, of course, you can catch this. There are young, fit, healthy people currently in hospitals on ventilators. So, yes, it can spread, but the likelihood is, looking at the general demographic, it's the 60 plus that really have to be concerned about this, and those, of course, with underlying health conditions. So, are you one of the 250,000 plus people that are volunteering to be volunteer responders with the NHS? If you are, well done. Brilliant. It's a great initiative. Maybe you've got a little more time on your hands because you've recently lost your job. According to a YouGov poll, 1 in 20 Britons have lost their job due to the virus. And of course, as most of the population of Britain is here in England, we can imagine that that's one hell of a lot of people here in our villages, towns, cities. Concerning. Very concerning. And I think we know that we're probably going to be in recession after this. And I think it will be the same most of the world over. But then these are very unprecedented times. And so measures have to be taken. And we'll see where we are maybe in a year's time. And let's hope we've defeated this virus by then. Though a vaccination could take 12 to 18 months, I believe. According to the BBC, a quarter of the world's population is currently under some form of lockdown. Wow. Now, lockdown has created some benefits, not for people necessarily, but look up at that blue sky today. There are no vapour trails from planes. I say that, I can actually see one plane flying past at the moment, so they are still up there, but for the most part, much, much less. Dolphins have returned to the canals of Venice. Wow. That's it for today anyway, folks. I'm keeping it short and sweet. Hit subscribe if you're viewing this through YouTube. If you're not viewing it through YouTube, search England Reborn on YouTube and hit subscribe anyway. And I'll speak to you all soon.